Hey guys, what's happening? Andreas here. I'm going to talk with you all in English. I know, strange to be on stream in English. Doesn't happen very often. Happens maybe once a season. Like a season of a TV show. Just once a season. And I'm going to talk to you all today about our classes at LAC. So we're going to talk today about some of our offerings, some of the teaching that's happening, some of the learning that's happening, some good stuff. It's going to be really casual today. Happy you could join us. We're very excited for our fall classes. We've got some amazing instructors joining us, right? And so, including one new instructor. And we really want to talk about these classes with you all today. This is also a great moment if you want to like ask questions or really anything else about Latin, ancient Greek, Latinitas Animi Causa, that is our specific website, whatever it might be. This is a great time to pop in, ask a question in English, in Latin, in ancient Greek, Spanish, Italian, really any language that we can understand. This is welcome. So glad to have you folks here. Let's jump right in. We got some music coming at us from Spotify, right? And right now we're listening to Lo-Fi, no copyright. Who doesn't like a good no copyright Lo-Fi vibe? I enjoy it. I know that. Feels weird speaking English. I don't like it. So let's get it done quickly. All right. So if you've never been here before, this is our website. You can find all of our like socials and things like that in the upper right hand corner here. You can find our Twitch, our Facebook, our YouTube, TikTok, all those things. We really work on a lot of our platforms in different ways. So following us on those other platforms is a great way to get a lot of different things. Here, our main advertisement for our fall courses. This picture was taken by the lovely co-founder of Latinitas Animi Causa, Ilsa Morehouse, right? Brilliant woman, great photographer. She's got some Ovid in there. Who doesn't want Ovid? And she's also revamping her website. We have some new things being added here, so definitely come check it out if you want to see sort of what else is going on. But I'm going to take us over now to the Taberna. In the Taberna, there's two things right now. We have downloadables, which the only thing right there right now is this. If you're interested, you can grab yourself a full PDF of a bunch of personal questions that you can put on Jenga tiles to create a sort of like Latin conversational Jenga. I play it with my students. I play it with adults. I play it with all sorts of people. It's super fun. Every tile has a different question. So in the total purchase of this thing for like $350, you get a PDF of everything you need. It includes questions, rules in Latin and in English, sample answers, so on and so forth. But let's go to the courses. We're here to talk about courses today, and we're talking about fall 2024. Right? I'm so glad we're approaching fall. I love me fall. So let's jump down and look at some of these courses. As you can see at the top here, our main headings are Latin, Ancient Greek, Old English, English, Other. That is the language that they're offered in. And Old English is a fairly recent addition, and we can thank our dedicated viewer also, Garay Hamaguste, if you're watching, right? We can thank him also for giving us that. So let's talk about some of our courses. We're just going to go course by course and talk a little bit about what we've got going on here. And we got quite an awesome set of courses this term. So let's jump in right now to Introduction to Latin Manuscripts and Handwriting. Now, our instructor here is Dr. Diana Warren Anderson. She's a professor at University of Massachusetts, Boston. She really knows her stuff. Not only when it comes to Latin and ancient Greek and all things classics, but specifically, she has a really rich history when it comes to manuscripts and paleography and papyrology and handwriting and those things. So this course is going to introduce participants, people who have maybe never tackled these things before, to the evolution of Latin books and handwriting, looking at things like papyri, to codices, to libri, to other things throughout history. That means from ancient graffiti to early modern printed books, and it's going to be reading the text in their original media. That's really cool. Some of the topics include technologies of Latin and Greek books from antiquity to the early modern period. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger, by the way. That might help. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Ancient Roman scripts, medieval Latin scripts, Renaissance humanist scripts, early printed books, right? So each session is going to help you to understand how to read these, right? So I don't know about you, but I love reading things from many different eras. I don't love just reading one era. I don't love reading just the classical period. I often find myself reading things from the Renaissance or the medieval period. When you define the medieval period is also up for debate, but the early modern period, recently published works, I love reading all of these things. And sometimes it can be difficult to understand what's being written because they're using something that, like a handwriting or a specific orthography that seems foreign to a point of being not intelligible. So this will help you to be able to do that. And also, like, Diane is super learned in these things. You're going to learn a ton if you take this course. And it's on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 a.m., 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So starting on September 24th. So just about 11 days from now, you can start this course. And the course is only $250 for 10 sessions, which is kind of a steal, right? Especially considering all you can get from this from a college professor. So definitely jump into this course if you're interested in learning more about this. Let's jump to the next course. The next one, Logidia, Ancient Greek Chit Chats. So a logos is any sort of, logos means a billion things. Like, I shouldn't give just one definition, but it can also mean sort of chats or speak, just like a Latin sermo. And here we have logidia, small chats, because in the diminutive form it goes to logidion, and then the plural would be logidia. And I'm the instructor, Andrew Andreas Morehouse, and this is a chance for anybody at any level of Ancient Greek to jump in and speak or listen to Ancient Greek. Like, if you really wanted to, you could technically not speak any Ancient Greek in this class and just jump in and listen. But you're going to have a chance to chat and listen to experience unsheltered speaking with conversation prompts and structures provided session by session. That means that every class, I'm going to make sure that there's structure so that you can learn while you are also listening to others speak Ancient Greek and listen to me speak Ancient Greek, and maybe you'll speak a little Greek yourself. And it's only one of the benefits of this course that I really think it is one, it's really great to speak Hellenistic for just 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes only, right? A lot of people can fit 30 minutes into their schedules way easier than they can fit an hour. I'm one of those people. It's on Sundays at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Now, I'm not a super early riser, but I like to get up in the morning. Like, I don't like to, I don't naturally do it, but I like to do it when I can. And really what I love is to be able to give an opportunity also to our European folks to be able to come in and practice speaking Latin and Ancient Greek. So here you're going to be able to jump in at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. If you're in Europe, this is 6 hours ahead. You're talking about 3 p.m., a little more reasonable. If you are in an entirely other continent, it's more likely you can join us. So this is a really great available time. And you can jump in here with just a basic knowledge of Greek grammar, right? It assumes prior knowledge of Greek, roughly equivalent to 2 years of college Greek, and maybe a little bit of Greek experience, not a ton. And you can jump in and start learning, right? So it's really low pressure. And that's the vibe. That's the goal. The goal is to be speaking Ancient Greek, even if you've never spoken it before, because it can be really intimidating, but it obviously helps us read better. Next up, we have Anagnosis Metandareu, again with me. So this one is an hour long. It's an hour on Sundays from 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in this course, we're going to read together. I'm going to provide you readings. I'm going to come in knowing the reading, having read the reading, and leading you through the reading. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in everything that we're reading. What do I mean by that? It means that I'm not specifically maybe a scholar of Herodotus, but we might read some Herodotus. I'm not a scholar of Plato, but we'll read some Plato. And there's a lot of context that I'll provide that I know about, but I won't know everything. And you might. You might know way more than I do about something. You might know way more about Thucydides. You might know way more about Longus. You might know way more about Sappho. And so this is an opportunity for you to be able to share that in a low-pressure reading environment. So in this course, we're going to read. We're going to read in Ancient Greek. We're going to speak in Ancient Greek while reading, and we're going to have a good time. Now, speaking Ancient Greek can be really scary. Reading Ancient Greek can even be really scary. So the point is to have as much support as possible. I'm there for you in whatever way I can be. All right. Next up, this is a course that we're particularly excited about as we have a new instructor joining us, Corey Conradus Russo. So Corey Russo, if you don't know him, he has his own series called Musaiolum on Spotify. It used to be on Apple Podcasts. I think it's just on Spotify now. But this series is Latin audiobooks. He reads Latin works that you can listen to entirely for free. And the thing that I really want to laud about Corey specifically, one, he's a very good friend. So I'm not saying this because he's a very good friend, but he's a good guy. But more than anything, and all of our instructors are really good people. Let me just put that out there before I say anything else. But specifically, Corey does a great job with recitation, the art of recitation. Because when we recite things, you can recite things in a way, like if I say, for instance, quousque tandem abutere Catalina patientia nostra, I'm not conveying meaning. I'm just saying words. But the art of recitation is how we also convey meaning through our speech. Quousque tandem abutere Catalina patientia nostra. My use of emotion there has changed the way that sentence is received. Corey does a really good job at this as well. He conveys meaning through his recitations. And here, you'll get a chance to read Cicero's De Senectute, one of the works that he specifically calls the Cato Major de Senectute. And here, you'll be able to read as much as possible in the book, reading 5 to 10 capitula per session. And Corey has been reading Latin for a very long time. He's very good at Latin. And he's been speaking Latin for a long time, and is good at that too. And really, people feel support in his reading sessions. So this is a great place to get support and read about how to grow old. All of us are doing it. I know I am. All of us are getting older. So this is an opportunity for you to be able to, learn more about growing older in a good way. And like he said, per session with support. Support is always the key here. You will have support. And here, this book is dedicated to his friend Atticus. So each session is an hour and a half long, a little longer, a little meatier. The meteor as in like lots of meat, not meteor as in falling from the sky. So 1.5 hours, an hour, 90 minutes, a little bit longer, maybe more of a time commitment. But trust me, you'll enjoy that in the end because you'll have gotten more reading out of it. And those are running the same time. All of our term starts September 22nd, which means that you have about 9 days, right? 9 days to get your name in, and spots are going fast. So let's move on to our next course. Let's talk about Sermunculi. Unfortunately, this course is sold out, but it already has a waiting list. So Sermunculi is much like Logidia. They're short, 30 minutes, structured chats in Latin. It's currently sold out, but if you want to go on the waiting list, send us an email at basenlac.com/contact. And we'll see if we can pop you on the waiting list as well. And if there's enough interest, maybe I'll just start another section. These are also on Sundays in the morning at 8 a.m., which means if you're in Europe, this might be something perfect for you if you want to start speaking Latin. All right, let's jump to the next course because that one's sold out. Reading Latin per se with Richie's Fabulae Faciles. The instructor, Holly Annula Russo. Speaking of amazing supportive instructors, Holly Annula Russo is a fantastic teacher, an incredibly supportive teacher. And here, it's a chance for you to read Latin through itself, right? This is a great extensive reading course option. You will be able to read Fabulae Faciles, which is a work conceived by a guy whose first name I don't know, but his last name is Richie. It's called Richie's Fabulae Faciles, later adapted into a work called Fabulae Graecae, a textbook. And so it goes through 4 major mythological sequences that all sort of build on each other with respect to their grammar and vocabulary. So you start with Perseus, then you go to Heracles, and then you go to the Argonauts, Jason and the Argonauts, and then you go through the Odyssey. Selections from, of course, not the entire story. But what this means is that you're able to see, from the beginning, Perseus is pretty easy, right? And then as you grow, you'll read more Hercules, and the works get longer. They're more complex and they're longer. All the session will be conducted in Latin, and you'll read a lot in Latin. But there'll be opportunities to ask questions in English at the end. So if there's something you're not sure of, you'll have a chance. So here's some things about being beneficial for Fabulae Faciles. Fabulae Faciles would be beneficial if the first text is more or less comprehensible to you, but you're not able to read the second selection without help from grammars, dictionaries, translations, or you are more or less able to understand the main idea and general details of both selections without any help from grammars, dictionaries, or translations, but would also like to achieve a more complete and thorough understanding of the text, including from a grammatical perspective. So these are the 2 passages that are provided, which Perseus igitur multos annos sibi habitabat et combatere sua vitam beata magebat ad polydectes danaein materem Persi magnopere amabat atque eam matrimonium ducere volebat. So on and so forth. In this one, Ulixes cum abora septimad vesperum expectasset veritus ne soci sui in periculo versarentur, non nullo se reliquis visit, ut quae causa esset morae cognoscarent. So you can look at these two passages and use them to gauge whether or not Fabulae Facules would be beneficial for you. But I'll tell you right now, I still find Fabulae Facules beneficial. I read Latin fluently, right? I mean, I struggle here and there. Who doesn't? Everyone does. I mean, in English, there are books that I read that I struggle with, let's be honest. But this really could be beneficial for almost anyone at any level, right? The more extensive reading you get, the better. But it is made specifically for intermediate. Pardon my speech. All right, we're jumping on to the next course. Human Geography. This, as a concept, to me, is incredibly cool. This is for intermediate to advanced speakers. And the teacher is Ariadne Belzer Carroll. Now, Ariadne is perhaps one of the best teachers I know. Amazing teacher, amazing Latin speaker. And who are the peoples of the world according to the Romans? How did they see people who were different than they were? So right now they're going to she's planning on reading Pliny and exploring the idea of othering, exploring the idea of how people separate themselves, how people create distance, and how civilization distances itself from those that it sees as different. Now, this is something that is obviously still incredibly relevant and incredibly cool, right? So this course, I mean, I wish I had time to take it. Unfortunately, on Wednesdays, I'm usually on duty on the dorms. But Wednesdays from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard, you can learn so much more about how we as humans otherize other humans through text. And Pliny specifically is a great example of this, who writes several ethnographies in his work. Okay. Next up, Spoken Old English. Now, I mentioned Graham Garayhama-Shepper earlier as one of our instructors who's brought Old English to LAC. We didn't previously teach Old English. Garayham, however, is so excited and passionate about reading and speaking in the target language that his passion and his joy, Old English, he has brought to us at LAC. If you want to learn Old English, it's an introduction to the language spoken in England from roughly 450 to 1066 AD, and in LAC fashion, which is totally correct, it will be conducted as much as possible in the language itself. No prior knowledge or experience is required. If you have no knowledge of Old English, you can take this course and start learning Old English. And from the previous course, this course ran last term as well in the spring. It had great reviews. People really enjoyed it. They enjoyed learning more about Old English. If you're a language nerd and you want to learn more, this course is for you, right? Old English is super cool. And again, I would also take this course if I had time, but Wednesdays I am on duty, so I can't. But, all right. So we have some Latin manuscript writing. We have some reading and chatting in Latin and in ancient Greek. We have some ancient Greek reading. We have some Old English spoken. Here, let's learn more about Caesar and Ariovistus on imperialism from the Caesar's De Bello Gallico, specifically book 1.30 on. So this is a chance for you to get to know Caesar better. Now, Caesar is perhaps one of the most read texts through the entirety of Latin literature. Let's be honest, right? Everybody was reading Caesar at some point throughout history. And here, our instructor, Joe Watkins, is a PhD candidate at Boston University, specifically working on historiography and more importantly, on Caesar. This is his bread and butter. He is an expert on this. So you'll be able to learn from him about this. You'll be able to learn more about this. And this course will pick up after the old AP curriculum cut off in book 1, which means that you get to learn more about which maybe that you didn't learn about in the past because it wasn't talked about a lot. So this is a really cool course. You do not have to read ahead of time. It happens on Tuesdays in the evening time, 8 weeks, 1-hour courses. It's a really low pressure and high fun option for reading Caesar, which isn't always the case historically. So I would jump at this if I were you. Okay. We have looked at Caesar. Now, okay, this is another course with myself. I'll be brief. This is the same thing as Anagnoses with Metandreu, but Lectiones cum Andrea. If you want to jump in for a variety pack of Latin reading week to week, every week we'll read something different, something new, something from somewhere else, unless there's a consensus in the group that they really want to stick with one specific text, which, you know, I'm here for the group. You're going to be able to read Latin and enjoy Latin. And again, I know a lot of Latin. I know a lot about the Romans. I am not an expert in everything ever. No one can be. I don't want to be. So, I mean, in my heart of hearts, I probably want to be. But this is an option for us to read and also see what we can integrate into daily speech in our Latin production, which is super cool. So if you want to do weekly reading in Latin of things you may not have read before, jump into that. Here, Latin with Legonium 4, intermediate low spoken Latin. So if you are new into Latin, speaking Latin, and you've been doing it for a little bit, but not a long time, you get to jump in with Legonium 4. So they're starting at season 1, episode 9, Nona, but you do not have to have done, is that good English? It's not necessary that you have done Legonium 3, 2, 1 with Miletus in the past. Miletus is an old friend, wonderful Latin speaker, wonderful Latin teacher, has lots of amazing students, several of whom I met. He himself is a wonderful Latin teacher, as well as teaching Italian these days. And he's going to choose Legonium, which is created by Anthony Gibbons. If you don't know about Legonium, please change that. It's a wonderful website to see stories illustrated with Legos. And the Latin is just fantastic. And so it's comprehensible and enjoyable. And you get to jump into spoken Latin in a really low pressure way. Definitely jump into Latin with Legonium. Alrighty. Next up, intermediate conversation hour, also with Miletus. So we're jumping back into Michael Miletus' suite. It's weird calling him Michael. I don't think I ever will. He's Miletus to me. Dear good friend. And he's really great at providing people support in speaking Latin. And each week he'll lead a group in discussing a site passage, a piece of art, or other realia, that is things we can really get our hands on related to Latin, history of the classical world, or the intersection of ancient, medieval, and Renaissance culture with the contemporary world entirely in Latin. So, and there's only 5 participants, so you're getting a personalized experience. This is something that's really cool, and being able to have something physical, I mean, physical probably isn't the right word, but reale, for lack of a better word, to have your hands on while learning to speak Latin is super useful and beneficial. So, can't recommend it enough. Next course, folks. Thalassa. The sea, right? This is also with Ariadne Belzer Carroll. Do you want to learn about sea monsters, sea creatures, stories of the sea, anything about the sea? This is it. The question is, what makes it mare nostrum? Conquest? Harvest? Is it really ours from a Roman perspective? And this is for intermediate to advanced speakers. If you want to push your Latin, Ariadne is a wonderful instructor to have with you. She speaks well. She supports you, but she speaks well. She speaks quick, but she always makes sure everyone's with her so you won't get lost in a boat. So, if you want to learn more about what the sea is for the Romans, which is, of course, a pirate's favorite letter, you'd think it's R, but it's actually the C. Thalassa is a great option for you. So, want to show you that one as well. And it also starts on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. Those are our main courses for this term. Latin manuscripts and handwriting, Logidia, Anagnoses, Cicero's De Senectute, Sermunculi, Latin with Ritchie's Fabulae Faciles, human geography and othering of human beings, spoken Old English with no experience necessary, Caesar and Ariovistus on imperialism from the De Bello Gallico, for novice and intermediate speakers, I might add, Lectiones cum Andrea at any level, join me to read, Latin with Legonium, intermediate conversation hour with Miletus, Thalassa, the sea, and you can always give a gift card to somebody if you want to give someone else the gift of LAC. And as always, we have our consultations here. If there's something you want to do that's outside of our curriculum, outside of our catalog, in some way you want to work on a higher level of fluency, you want to talk about your classroom, you want to talk about communicative language instruction, second language acquisition research, autodidact habits, just jump in, grab a consultation, and we'll set up a meeting together. What it will cost is $0 to set up a consultation. What the consultation will then cost is going to depend on what you need. Is your thing going to take 4 hours a week? That might cost different than something that takes 20 minutes, right? But you can always book a one-on-one consultation that's customized and tailored to you and your needs. And I'm here for you as a person who works fluently in Latin, as a person who works on ancient Greek, as a person who works on second language acquisition research, as a person who teaches, as a person who brings communicative language instruction to his students every day in the Latin classroom, in the Spanish classroom, in the ancient Greek classroom, in the Italian classroom. I'm here for you. And you can always jump in and grab this as well. So folks, those are our courses for this term. Let us know in the comments below, which one seems the most fun to you? Which one are you most interested in? Are there courses that you wish we were offering that we're not? Are there courses here that stand out that you wish you could take but just can't? We'd love to know how you feel. So let us know down below in the comments, okay? We'd love to know. Because we love you all, our community, the people who come to join us all the time to speak Latin and speak Ancient Greek. Now, enough of this advertisement. I'm just really passionate about showing what we have here at LAC because we work dang hard to create what we have here on top of our other day jobs. Everyone here who teaches with LAC, including myself, also has another job that they do, whether it's getting their PhD, teaching as a professor, teaching as a high school teacher. All these people have something else that they do. Graham, for instance, is in the military. Everyone here is doing something that is outside of this, and I'm just so proud to be able to offer what we can. So just always want to show off whenever I get a chance. So folks, that's us. If you ever want to know more about our team, come meet the team. There's me. There's my wife. There's our podcast creator, Ilsa. Lots of amazing people who teach with us, whom we are very proud of. Of whom we are very proud? Whatever the English is. Alrighty, guys. That'll be it for me today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad that I was able to show this to you. If you ever have questions, you can always let us know on habesnelac.com/contact. But of course, things in the comments as well. We are basically on every social media platform, so anywhere there as well.